Good to go.
This is Marna Weston for the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program at Lockridge Park in Perry, Florida on July 14th, 2012. And I'm here with Dr. Horace McLeod of the Taylor County Leadership Council, one of the sponsors of the Jerkins High School reunion in association with others. And thank you for allowing us to take part for a second time.
Well, thank you for coming and being with us to celebrate the reunion. I think this is the fourth or maybe fifth reunion that we've had. And it's an all-school reunion because the school has been closed now for quite some time. So we started to just bring the entire school together as a reunion. And this time I think we had about 170 plus families to come, and it was well attended.
Yeah, it's terrific that you talked about the families, because that's the part that really struck me both in 2010 and now in 2012, that this isn't just for the graduates of Jerkins High School, it's for their family members, it's for the teachers, for surviving faculty and staff, it's for the whole community.
Exactly.
Is that what you originally envisioned when your group decided to have these reunions?
Absolutely, because we are a dying breed. You know, there are no more graduates coming out of the school. But the legacy that this school has through its graduates lives on in our families. So, you know, we thought not just to have the graduates come together, but to bring, you know, their families together. And it's kind of good to hear for the kids and grandkids to hear people talk about their moms and grandmoms and granddad in somewhat of a comical, kid-like manner, because they see them as these old fogies, and all of a sudden they hear people talk about when they played basketball, and they're struck, you know, like, my grandmother played basketball? You know, this old white-haired lady said they're going to play basketball? So it's interesting. It kind of humanized the elderly generation to the younger ones. And it kind of gets, it's an opportunity for us to sort of look at each other and sort of appreciate the good times. And they never forget those nicknames that they called you 50 years ago. And when they see you, that's the first name they call you. And then you hear people, oh, no, I've not been called that name for 45 years. Right. Well, you're back home now. Welcome back, Cootie. Those kind of things that really make events like this good, special.
Speaking of home, one of the main themes of this reunion and the activities of the Taylor County Leadership Council is to strengthen the communities here at home in Taylor County. How does this event help you deal with some of the more serious issues in the community in a constructive manner?
Well, I think what it does for the people that are currently here, especially the young people, when they see the graduates, their family member friends that have gone away, and the kids don't even know they exist, and all of a sudden they see these people come back, and some of these people are doctors, lawyers, very successful people in their own right, and they grew up out of Perry. So it kind of gives the kid the opinion, hopefully, is that it's not where I started from. That's the most important thing. It's what do I want to accomplish and how am I going to get there? Is to help them make that roadmap. Today we were in there talking, and one of the guys was asking me, whatever happened to your daughter that was in pharmacy school? Well, she graduated. She's now in North Carolina as a pharmacist. And this little kid looked at me and goes, your daughter is a pharmacist? Yeah. And her sister has a PhD and works at North Carolina. Wow, and they came out of Perry? Well, they didn't necessarily come out of Perry, but their roots are in Perry. So it's the idea of trying to give students the idea that you can accomplish. You know, Perry's a small town. Doesn't have the very best reputation, but we can use the good parts of what come out of there to help promote the educational growth of kids coming out, and that it really doesn't matter where you're from. Universities are going to accept you based on your SAT scores, your averages, the courses you've taken in high school, and because of Florida's Common Course numbering system, you pass an Algebra 1 in Perry and take the end of course exam and successfully get 3 or higher. You get the same credit if you had graduated in the largest city in the state of Florida. And it kind of makes that connection with them, not to argue and bemoan the fact that I am, quote, in Perry. You can be accomplished wherever you are. You just need to work at it from your own personal perspective.
I know there's still activities to take place tonight and tomorrow, a worship service. But as far as what's taken place so far, can you select a moment that's occurred so far over the weekend that has really led you to see why it was important to start this process in the first place? Well,
this year, as you know, we were celebrating former teachers, and to have some of our former teachers come back and to see these former teachers and the interaction with their students, which happen to be my peers and stuff, and how, you know, these people were very impactful in our lives. And most often we never say thank you to them because we frankly weren't that grateful during the time that we were going through their classes. And some of the jokes and the fun we tell now about, you know, maybe we should go get the police down here and round them all up and send them all to jail for child abuse. Because the things they used to go do with us. Young lady Shirley Williams was telling that the teacher had her do a problem on the board. And she did the problem, and she looked at him and asked, "What do you think?" And he just looked at her and smiled. And this process went along for about 15, 20 minutes. And she missed her lunch, everything, trying to work this problem. So she got so frustrated with him and said, "Look, this is it. I refuse to do it again. Is this problem right?" He said, "Yes. It was right the first time. But you didn't believe it was right. You asked me, what did I think? Which means you were not sure. Once you became positive that it was right, you were ready to argue with me if I said it was wrong." So it's those kind of moments when they go back to those teachers now and somewhat jest and stuff and go, "Why did you do that to me?" By the way, she does have a PhD in math now. And she just retired from the Atlanta public school system. So it's those kind of moments that people have with their teachers that they go back now and say thank you. During the process, it wasn't that great, but now we see the benefit of it. So, and I think that was to me, that was the spirit of this weekend, was for them to reconnect with some elderly teachers. And sometimes the teachers don't necessarily see the product that they work through in its probably most raw stage. And now they look at us old and whatever we've done, they feel somewhat of an accomplishment, because oftentimes teachers never see the finished product. They just see what comes through their class. And only when you have occasions like this do you look back and go, wow, you know, I really thought he was going to do that. I thought she would be great at that. So I think it was good for all of us to have that kind of bonding and connection.
What's the next step? You've talked about the date for the next one of these reunions, but what takes place between now and then what happens then?
Well, you may recall at our historical, when we had the last one 2 years ago, when we planted the historical marker, we asked to raise the community to help us raise about $30,000 so we could waterproof the entranceway to the facility and and then started to build bathroom facilities onto the old cafeteria. And right now, we are about 85% there raising the funds. So we will start construction very quickly. We hope to have this event again in July 18th to the 20th, I think it is, in 2014. And between now and then, we are going to challenge the alumni, the citizens of Perry, to help us waterproof the rest of the building. We want to establish a Jerkins Museum and maybe expand that to an African American museum just for Taylor County, and to house that in the old Jerkins High School, in the media center, which means it needs to be totally refurbished. And between now and then, our hope is to try to come up with a budget, challenge our people to let's raise those funds, and then let's do it. Let's build it. Let's establish this, and then come back in two years and see the fruits of our labor. And try to set this up on every 2 years of doing it. Not only just for us to get together, but for our families. You know, this is, as someone said today, this is really a family reunion. It is a Jerkins family reunion. So it's more than just the alumni or even the people that attended Jerkins. It is like a community reunion built around a school. So it's important that our kids and even their kids have some connection to Taylor County and Perry, and this is their roots. You know, this is how they got started. And even though we've moved all across this country, most of us come home occasionally, and it's good for families to see other family members.
Mm-hmm. We've always been impressed in this partnership, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of it, with how much surprise and accomplishment comes through struggle. As I was listening to you and reflecting on this weekend, I thought about the place that we're sitting right now, the nature of this particular park and its role in the struggle here in Taylor County. Could you talk a little bit about where we're sitting?
Yes, this is Lottridge Park. It was built by the city and is maintained by the city, but it is a result of a lawsuit brought by members of the Taylor County leadership in its very infancy, beginning of Taylor County leadership, wherein these members brought a lawsuit against Taylor County government and the city of Perry for the inadequacies within the community, within the African American community. No paved streets, very few streets with street lights, very few streets with sewer, and etc. Brought a lawsuit, won the lawsuit, and as a result of the lawsuit, I would say 98, if not 100%, of all the streets in the African American community has been paved. All have lighting. Sewer is in, I would say, 90% of the African American community in Taylor County and the city of Perry. And this park was stated that the government or the court said you have to build it. So a gentleman, John Lottridge, donated the city this land to build this park, and it bears his name. And it's used, if you would look behind me here, a lot of ball fields and stuff where kids play during the summer. Also, they have a lot of Little League games out here, football and baseball and softball. So it is a very used park, and have gorgeous trees and stuff here. And again, like you said, it came from struggle.
As you look to the next chapter in the story of Taylor County and Jerkins High School, what do you envision to be the next steps that you take, the next challenges that your organizations face?
I think right now to focus on totally rehabbing the facility, establishing the Jerkins Museum, the African American Museum here in Taylor County, basically built on the history here in Taylor County, and to bring other social services to the community. Right now we do have food distribution for the community once a month. We would like to increase that to once a week. There are some other services that are needed, but until we get that building renovated to the point that we can offer the services in the building, we're sort of hampered.
Does it look like it's going to happen?
I think so. It is going to be a struggle because money is tight. There are very, very few grants out there for construction. So we, in Taylor County leadership, we're sort of refocusing our efforts into start providing programs. We're looking at some juvenile justice programs now that we're going to apply for and then pay rent to Taylor County leadership. Once we pay the rent to them, they can then use those funds to help with the renovation of the building. So it has to be a pay-as-you-go kind of an activity, and I think we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Dr. McLeod, as always, it's a pleasure to chat with you, and I'd like to, again, give you final privilege. If there's something that we haven't discussed that you'd like to talk about, please feel free.
I think we just, we were very grateful that you all take the time to come over and to be with us, to partner with us, to talk to some of our elderly graduates. The lady that you spoke with today, some of the things she was telling you, I had never heard.
Hazel Armbruster?
Yeah, Ms. Armbruster. Had never heard. Her mom was the nurse at the high school when I was in school there. And I met Ms. Armbruster, didn't know her here in Perry, but I met her in Broward County.
She lives in Pompano Beach.
Right.
Okay.
And I met her because she worked in the school system, and I worked in the school system. As I started going up in the ranks in the school system, getting promoted and stuff, talking to people, one of my taglines is, I'm just a little country boy out of Perry, Florida. Mm-hmm. And I said this in a seminar I was doing. This lady jumps up in the back of the room. I thought so. I go like, okay, what did you think? You're Bill McLeod's son. Yeah, I am. Well, I'm Hazel Armbruster. And I knew the name. And we connected there and sort of stayed up with each other. And some of the things she told you, I had never heard. The school that she went to in the quarters. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the quarters that she was talking about sits a little bit to our right. We are behind the quarters. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing over there now but just weeds and bushes and stuff. At one time it was a very vibrant community. So it's interesting to get their perspective and then to hear her talk about the struggles of her family and her brother Sam, which happened to be with her, that I'd never met before. But I knew her, and I knew her younger sister. So it's we learn more every time we get together. Mm-hmm. And we're just very grateful that you take the time to come over and do this with us. It's been a great partnership. We look to continue.
As well, on behalf of the Samuel Proctor Oral History Program, this is Marna Weston, and we'll see you in July 2014.
Excellent. Look forward to having you.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.